Leaders need to go beyond hiring diverse people. They literally need to fund them, promote them, listen to them. Diversity without authority does not change the product. Diversity with leadership changes the future.
How's it, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Exponential Africa, where we are bringing you the very best in thought leadership, innovation, and technology. And today, we are going to be discussing around AI, how it's advancing at this pace few people have ever imagined possible. Every week, we're seeing new breakthroughs, smarter models, more capable systems, and growing conversations about AGI, super intelligence, and what some call the singularity. But amid all the excitement, one question that often gets overlooked is who's actually building these systems? Because the people who build the future inevitably influence the future. The values they bring, the experiences they have, the problems they choose to solve. And if AI is going to shape humanity, then humanity needs a seat at the table. That includes ensuring women are not participating in AI, but helping lead it. To explore why this matters and what it means for the future, I'm joined by Dr. Natalie Raphil, who is an AI and technology leader, passionate about helping create a more inclusive and human-centered future. She's the founder of Robots Can Think. She's an entrepreneur and head of Africa for Women in AI. Dr. Natalie, welcome to Exponential Africa.
Thank you, Mick. Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Absolutely. Where are you coming in from today?
Johannesburg, cold Johannesburg.
It seems like the cold has finally hit us in South Africa.
Yeah, I chose the opportune time to visit.
Natalie, tell me why. Let's just kick off with why do you think it's important for AI to have, many different players represented, as well as in many other industries?
I think it's because AI is part of an infrastructure of everyday life. It's shaping how people work, access services, build businesses, and participate in the economy, right? So if this is about fairness, I think that's a misrepresentation. Having inclusion is not about fairness. It's about making sure people build systems that are inclusive and reflective of people who will live in this future that we talk about. And it's important because you just said AI is powerful. It is important because this power, who owns it, who contributes to it, who says no to it, who says no to surveillance or classifications of rank and the control of people. So the issue is not only do we have diverse teams, right? Do we have women representation? The issue is who has the power over systems being built? Who defines the problem? Who owns the data? Who decides what counts as harm? Who profits? Who is experimented on, and who gets to say no? So representation without power is symbolic. Human-centered AI requires accountability, not just inclusion.
Totally agree. I mean, if AI is going to shape society, the society shaping it needs to be at the forefront,
Exactly. And I think inclusion is more than just having, a female representative. It's about marginalized communities. It's about the differently abled. And that now becomes society that we are serving and will serve in the future.
I mean, what sort of risks emerge when AI is actually being built by a narrow group of people instead of, from a wide collective?
I think we can miss language, culture, gender, accessibility, geography, and economic realities. For businesses, I mean, that means poor adoption, biased outcome risk, and missed opportunity. If you think about it, uh, the world view can be mistaken for objectivity. People often talk about AI as, as if it's neutral, but every AI system carries human choices. What data is being used, what was excluded, what was optimized, what harms were considered accepted. And a narrow group can build systems that automate discrimination, expand surveillance, and literally concentrate power while calling it innovation.
Yeah, I mean that's it's so interesting. I don't know if you saw recently that Fable 5 was by the American government, and a few folks. I never actually used it. I never had the chance to use it because I switched over back to Codex when 5.5 came out. But people that used it said this is the most powerful tool they've ever experienced. They felt like they could do anything. And
Yeah.
there's actually some real stuff behind why they banned it, because it is that powerful. And if it gets in the wrong hands, it can create these biases and it can manipulate the truth in a way.
Yeah, and I believe, the danger is not only bias, but like your example with Fable, the danger is really power without accountability.
Yes, exactly. You can become so powerful that who do you answer to?
And power in the wrong hands. I mean, if you look at the democratization of AI, it is in the hands of literally anybody right now. And with that level of intellect and knowledge, you could do anything. A 13-year-old with Fable, come on.
Yeah, like, just imagine what they're gonna, you could, but you could create these sort of environments that exclude rather than bring everyone together. And it could be, like you said, it could be gender, it could be race, it could be a number of different areas.
Yeah, and I think the most important is what we see now, Mick. The divide is literally here now. Those that understand, those that know, those that can pay the subscription fees are included. And those without the affordability factors are literally excluded. So if you look at it right now, the inclusion metrics is more than female versus male. It's affordability versus those who just can't. And I know in Africa we talk about connectivity access. Yes, we may have connectivity access, and that would soften the load of inclusion. But now that you have accessibility to a network connectivity, your discriminating factor is affordability.
Yeah, it's exactly that. I mean, I heard some crazy statistic that in one company they spent almost $500 million in tokens in 1 month.
Yes, and they forgot to add a limit. It's crazy.
It's crazy what's going on, and the cost of these models um, to create this competitive advantage for companies.
Yeah.
And we're seeing companies at like jump in, and like what you're saying, the ones that can afford it are utilizing this new power, this new hammer, and getting ahead. But why should leaders in businesses specifically care about this, or care about diversity in their teams when building out these products?
I mean, if your AI team understands different customers, languages, communities, and use cases, you build a better product. You ask better questions. You spot risks, earlier. you create innovation and solutions that more people can actually use. So you literally moving and shifting the line of discrimination and inclusivity to create this equal layer. And personally, I believe AI should be that equality line. But leaders need to go beyond hiring diverse people. They literally need to fund them, promote them, listen to them, and probably put them in decision-making roles, right? Diversity without authority does not change the product. Diversity with leadership changes the future. And, you know, we talk about this diversity thing, and I think it's a bit tiring because it feels as if, and it sounds as if women are outside this AI era and we're knocking on the door to get in. Yet we are in. We are innovators, we are inventors, we are investors, we are researchers, we are contributing. And yet in 2026, we're still talking about inclusion.
It's interesting.
I'm missing it.
Yeah, you know what's so interesting is that it's really about community ultimately. Because if you think about, you like what you say, women are already in AI. They are. You know, I know at least 30 to 40 incredible women doing amazing things in AI around the world. However, you know, your organization is called, the one you work with and lead up in Africa is called Women in AI, because it's about the community of women coming together more than about women's rights in a way, because they are, like what you say, women are already included.
Yes. And just to speak about women in AI and the myth, to demystify the myth. Yes, it's about community, but more so opportunity. And we do have males within women in AI to speak about the questions of inclusion and really take accountability to make sure that these sentiments that we speak of is actually actionable in society. To step forward and lead in the spaces, making sure that researchers from a female perspective solving pertinent issues that a male would not understand, like endometriosis, for example. And just to shift the education space as well, to share and contribute, but more so to open the doors of opportunity across South Africa, the continent, and the rest of the world. And if you look at it from that perspective, the community is diverse in itself because we don't exclude, or else what's the point of it?
Yes, then you're sort of like, you're not eating your own dog food type of thing.
Exactly, yeah.
So that,
So I think, sorry, to go back to your question about, why do leaders care about diversity? I think it's because diversity makes the brand look good right now. You have representation in Women's Month, on Women's Day, and we invited to speak because we tick a quota right now. We employed because yes, we are female and we need to meet, again the quota. But I think leaders should care because AI systems can cause real harm, and companies should be accountable for that harm. And a diverse team is not useful if people are ignored when they raise concerns. It is not useful if the business model rewards extraction, surveillance, and speed over safety. The question is not only, who is on the team, and the question is really who has the power to stop something that is harmful, a system that is harmful and deployed, who gets to say no to that? And in that becomes inclusion.
I think that's really brilliant. I love this quote from John Hunt. I don't know if you heard of John Hunt. He started this agency called Huntless Chorus. He was a legend in the ad game. He had this quote: "Embrace diversity; it will hug you right back."
Yes.
And also, I think on top of that is that we should embrace meritocracy.
Yeah.
The idea that the best should be put into the positions for the role or for the subject. And I think, that best can be anybody. It needs to come from all areas and walks of life, of people who can actually help whatever the task at hand is. If it's AI, then who's the best to be put in place for that? And I love that you bring Mann.
Shade.
Sorry?
I agree with you totally, and I love the quote that you shared.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. He wrote this book that's got all these one-line sayings, and you should get it. It's a really fantastic book about all of John Hunt's sort of lessons through his ad years. Another one is like, idea apartheid is dead. It's another one that is, this ideas can come from anybody, and everyone can have ideas. And because of technology, it's much more accessible. Then in the past, it always used to be the copywriter and the art director coming up.
Yes. I'm going to definitely with the book. I'm going to use the quotes as well.
Thank you. And tell me, well, what does actually human-centered AI mean to you?
One that allows us to say no, because it harms humanity, and humanity could be literally anybody. And one that allows us to say yes, this is actually going to propel humanity forward. But it's when I say us, it's that unified us, not the capital us, the capitalization us. The unified us that says no to fable. Example. Why was it only a certain facet of people that could say no to it?
It's very interesting what just happened, because the people felt that power. People really felt the power of fable.
And are you saying then that it was a people that said no to it?
I don't think it was the people, but I think it was obviously the government. But I had so many friends say to me, "You don't understand how powerful this was." They literally didn't sleep when it came out and spent 24 hours on it non-stop because it was just so good.
Well, I had a with it, what was restricted, so it again incredible. But I wanted to understand what was the fear that it invoked that allowed people to say no. I'm actually restricting this globally, and I think that's the the paradox I'm in is a government said no to it globally. As South Africa, we could have said yes to it.
Yes.
You hear what I'm saying? So the human-centered AI, I mean, it's in the question itself: is AI human-centered? Yes or no? And more so, who gets to make the decision that it is and that it isn't?
Yes, well, I think a lot of people are saying that's why we need to own our own models. That's why you need to run your own models on your own machines that you can control. But then, having said that, if you think about the Chinese models, they might be open source and free, but who controls the weights of those models? And who can tweak those weights at any moment once people are, really, really used to using them and have them built into their own architecture and systems? And then when you tweak the weights, how do you get those models to run well? Maybe you need the right chips for them to run well.
Yeah, it becomes this hierarchy of infrastructure at the end of the day. And more so, we have to understand that even though the models are open source, we will, unless you fine comb through the models and the way it was written, you wouldn't understand what threats are embedded within the model until it's too late. So it goes into the entire security space, the cybersecurity space. And I think the sentiment right now has been lifted to, oh my gosh, this is the best model. And we vetting those models against best, fastest accuracy and not threats, what's lurking and what's hidden, because certain of these models have embedded uh, breaches, and they are only activated at a certain point, and we saw that in the media of recent.
How come they haven't? If you think about how powerful this technology is, how come we haven't seen worse situations happen where these are and manipulated a group of people or a culture?
I think firstly it is there. I think we need to read about it and look for it. If you look at the threats and the breaches within South Africa over the last month, it's been exponential.
What's happened? Like with our government policy being written by hallucinated.
That was hilarious, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, let's not go to that one. That one's funny.
Have you seen other situations where this has taken place?
Where AI has been used at a government level and published.
Or just like just that used nefariously, or what's happened in the last month?
I think more from a security breach perspective, because these models are, well, can acquire and sort of vet information so quickly, we're seeing an increase in security breaches. The revenue services, I think it's probably 20% of our government institutes. We saw Standard Bank being breached recently. And that only shows the rapidness of learning from an AI model. Meaning, AI right now, we literally, as a people, we're using it at a surface level. But from an intelligence level, I mean, if you're using, age-old security protocols at enterprise level, and I adopt a fable or a mythos to learn your security protocols and establish your breaches, I can literally breach you in a millisecond. We
Yeah.
saw it with Anthropic. We saw it, it's just global. But over the past month, we've seen an increase of security breaches, whether internally by a human or by technology within the country. And that then moves towards, are we really understanding what era we're in? you know, are we really thinking about super intelligence as a breach factor? Or is it the hype of, oh my gosh, AI is more intelligent than human beings and it's including and excluding females versus males? I mean, that's not the conversation right now.
No, it's so interesting. I think it's changing every aspect of the way we live as a society. So in every area, it's being adapted and it's being disrupted and sort of reworked as a new. It's not about just incremental changes. It's massive exponential changes that are taking place.
I agree. And don't you agree that it's forcing us to recalibrate as humans?
Absolutely, totally. Like I think about my kids, how are they actually going to be as adults? And it's going to be quite interesting with this this integration of AI into our lives, how they're going to think about values. And if you think about Africa as going to have the world's youngest population, how do we ensure that young, guys and girls become builders of AI rather than just users of this AI?
Yeah, that one's interesting. And right now, I think again it goes back to capital. We can build, and we are building. We can research, we can deploy, we can invest. We can probably build unicorns coming out of South Africa, but the infrastructure does not belong to us. Those data centers are literally not ours. I mean, young women are not naturally users, and men are naturally builders. African women are building, like I said, and we are leading, we are solving, and we are inventing. So the question really is not how do we make young women builders or men builders? The question is how do we stop underestimating the builders already in front of us? I always ask, where's that platform within South Africa that amplifies what people are doing? Not the gatekeeping societies, but those just, that just literally go out and see our building and amplify it from a funding perspective and investment perspective so that we get rapidness coming out of South Africa. Do we need access to, I don't know, to infrastructure? Of course we do. Can we invest in our infrastructure so that builders can build? I think we should.
It's probably the most important thing for us to do in Africa now is invest in infrastructure. It is the
Yes.
number one thing we can do, because from that we can have sovereignty and we can create, much better education with AI and entrepreneurship and access to the technology, where it's not, like you say, it's not owned by somebody else. These big data centers that are running all of these models on.
And build our own models, build our own LLMs,
Exactly.
and then create an ecosystem that believes in South African outcomes and output. So although we're building LLMs and models, uh, do our enterprises really want to trust a small startup that says, oh my gosh, look, I have this cute little LLM that's better than the ones coming out of Asia and China? It's a societal shift.
Yes, totally agree. You're doing a lot of work in Africa. What sort of role models or success, or anyone that's really inspiring you, that's doing some incredible work in AI across the African continent?
There's many. I mean, if you look at our sistering countries, Kenya, Rwanda, Egypt, Ethiopia. Would you have thought Ethiopia? I've seen the most PhD uh, entrepreneurs come out of Morocco. I think they are our competitors right now. Same with Egypt, Algeria, even Namibia. No one looks at Namibia, but they're doing phenomenal AI innovations and inventions. I mean, Malawi, it's our smallest GDP on the country, yet the outcomes of AI is absolutely phenomenal. And when I say outcomes, I'm talking about niche inventions, innovations that's propelling Malawi into that ecosystem of startups and so forth. And the same with Morocco, the same with Egypt. And I think we then need to look broader outside of South Africa to the continent and receive that inspiration and define who models are for us. I can't choose one right now. I think I have a book full.
Wow, that's amazing. That's really inspiring to hear. And even in South Africa, we found some incredible young kids that are doing amazing things, building out their own robots with trash and garbage, and other kids that are building biotech labs. So it's pretty phenomenal.
And really the simplicity of the innovations in South Africa make. I mean, I saw one who's converted old satellite dishes into heat generating objects that allows their small community in deep rural, I think it's Eastern Cape, to generate hot water for the community. And for me, that's the mentality of innovation and invention. It doesn't really have to be technologically heavy. And if we take technology to that community and to that person who invented, can you imagine the outcomes? I love it.
No, it's incredible. So just to ask you, if we were having this conversation in 2040, what do you think success would look like for you?
Success would look like not having to talk about inclusion. I think we would have then accomplished inclusion as a society.
Yeah.
And I think we would have achieved equality in my mind. I, I, I would want AI to be the canvas for equality.
Totally agree. It needs to create harmony in the world,
Yes.
harmony and balance between all people.
I like that you said that. Robots Can Think slogan is simply harmonizing human and artificial intelligence.
Oh, wow. Let's close out with some quick fire rounds. So I'm going to ask you some lightning rounds. Tell me, so one thing in AR that you think the industry is underestimating?
Its power.
And one thing women bring to AR that is critically important?
Everything that we know right now. Yeah.
One AR opportunity Africa must not miss?
Ownership.
And one skill every young girl should develop today?
Curiosity.
Love that. One piece of advice for future AR leaders?
Be bold and know the skill of the future is going to be judgment.
Totally agree. That's where the intelligence layer sits, is with our judgment. Everything else is repetitive tasks. And you heard it there from Natalie, that the future of AI isn't just about technology, it's about people, it's about values, it's about the choices we make today that will shape the world we leave behind tomorrow. And as we move closer to increasingly intelligent systems, ensuring diverse voices are involved in building them, it isn't simply a fairness issue, it's a strategic necessity. Because if AI is going to shape humanity's future, then humanity must help shape AI. Natalie, thanks so much for joining us and sharing your insights. And to everyone watching, the future isn't being built by machines alone, it's being built by people. And the question is, who gets a seat at the table? So make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. And let's keep building Exponential Africa. Dr. Natalie Raphil, we're going to follow you on your journey. Thanks so much. Make sure to follow Women in Africa and Women in AR. Have a great day.
Thank you, Mick.
Thanks, Natalie.